Did you make a conscious decision to become a lawyer and not an accountant because sums aren't your thing? If so, stay tuned because we've got a number of SQE themed scenarios where there are some mathematical calculations involved that we can hopefully give you a bit more confidence when it comes to approaching those sorts of questions in the exam. And if, like me, you're a bit of a nerd and you love sums, still tune into this video because you'll find the SQE themed scenarios really instructive as well. Cue the jingle.
If you wanna be solicitors, why don't you come and visit us at SQETV?
Now, I'm releasing this video on National Numeracy Day because I know that despite being very bright academically, there are many SQE candidates who lack confidence when it comes to applying mathematical principles to practical scenarios in SQE style questions. After all, it's been at least 5 years since many of you sat a maths exam, and therefore, you'd be excused for being a bit rusty when it comes to things like percentages, which this video is going to focus on. Firstly, the good news though, the good news is that you will not have to do the sums in your head. Why? Well, we'll give you a calculator in the SQE assessment. The SRA and Kaplan provide either an online tool for SQE1 or the written assessments, or a physical calculator when it comes to the in-person oral assessments for SQE2. The second bit of good news is that the level that you need to demonstrate your mathematic competence when it comes to SQE is that really of GCSE and no higher. In fact, I would say it's probably the equivalent of Year 9 or Year 10 maths. Calculating simple percentages is about as hard as it gets. But when it comes to the application of the law, it becomes a little bit more tricky to know which sort of maths you need to apply. But in terms of basic maths principles, really that's as far as you need to go. So let's get cracking and have a look at some examples in an SQE context.
SQETV.
So as I mentioned a few moments ago, calculating a percentage is something that will come up from time to time in an SQE assessment. The question won't ever look like what it appears on the screen now, but what you will need to do is to go through the operations that this particular question asks you to do. So we can see the question, let me read it. The total issued share capital of a company is 300 shares. Ali owns 60 shares. What percentage of the company's shares does Ali own? So, simple percentage calculation that we need to do. And what we need to first of all is to set out and show, by way of the mathematical equation effectively, Ali's shares in relation to the total number of shares in the company. Well, we know that Ali owns 60 shares and we know that there are 300 shares in the company. So we can express it as a fraction of 60 divided by 300. 60 300ths effectively. And that is the fraction that he owns in the company in terms of the shares. And to work out a percentage, you simply do a calculation of 60 divided by 300 and then multiply that by 100 to give you the percentage shares that he owns, and you should be able to work out that that is 20%. Let's see me punching the numbers through the calculator. So 60 divided by 300 and then multiply that by 100, and that gives us the answer in percentage terms of the number of shares or the proportion of shares that Ali has.
SQETV.
In our next example, rather than calculating the total percentage of shares that a particular person has in the company, we're going to be calculating the actual number of shares that an individual holds. So we're going to be dealing with the same company again, where they have the total issued share capital of 300 shares, but this time we're dealing with Bilal, and we're told that Bilal owns 25% of the shares in the company. So how many shares in total does Bilal own? Well, there's two methods to calculating this. We're going to show you method 1, which starts off by converting the percentage that he owns into a decimal. What that means is we convert the percentage he owns, which we were told was 25%. Converting that into a decimal means that we put a 0 point and then put the number afterwards. So if it's 25%, that becomes 0.25. Think of it as 100% being 1.00. Well, what's 25% of that, or a quarter of that? Well, that's going to be 0.25. And what's the calculation we do here? Well, it's simply 0.25 multiplied by the total number of shares that there are in the company, because he owns 25% of them, and that ends up with a number of 75. So that's the total number of shares that Bilal owns in the company. The alternative way to do that is to punch in the following numbers into the calculator. So this is method 2. So you do 25 and then press the divided sign and then press 100. So that's 25 over 100. So effectively that's 25%. And then you multiply that by the total number of shares that there are in the company, that's 300, And you can see pressing the equal sign here gets us 75 again, so 75 shares. It doesn't really matter which method you use, as long as you're comfortable whichever way you choose.
SQETV.
Here's an example of the sort of scenario you might see in an SQE assessment that requires you to do a calculation. So let me read it. There are 800 ordinary shares in KLMN Limited, which have been issued to the following members of the company: Ken 500, Leela 150, Mo 100, and Nelly 50. And the question is, can Ken change the name of the company by passing an appropriate resolution at a general meeting of the company without relying on the votes of any of the other shareholders? Now, the key thing here is we're told that Ken owns 500 of the 800 shares in the company. And if we remember our law, we need to pass a special resolution if we are going to be changing the name of a company at a general meeting. And a special resolution requires a vote of 75% of the shareholders. And that means those holding 75% of the shares. So the key question is, does Ken's 500 shares constitute 75% or more of the total shares in the company? So this is the calculation that we need to do. We take Ken's shares, 500, and we divide it by the total of shares in the company, which is 800, and then we multiply that by 100 to give us the percentage. And we can see here that the answer, by punching the numbers in the calculator, is 62.5. That's the percentage shares that Ken owns in the company. So if he owns 62.5% of the shares, that's less than the 75% he needs to pass a special resolution. So to answer the question, he can't pass the special resolution on his own. He will need the assistance and support of other shareholders, and particular shareholders that own at least 12.5% of the shares. So what does 12.5% of the shares constitute? Well, 12.5 divided by 100, multiply that by the total number of shares in the company of 800, and that tells us that we need 100 shares, or somebody who's got control of 100 shares in addition to Ken's, in order to support him in passing this special resolution.
SQETV.
Here's a point of law that often confuses students in an SQE scenario. There are 800 ordinary shares in KLMN Limited that have been issued to the following shareholders: Ken, Layla, Mo and Nelly. And the question is, can Layla and Nelly block a special resolution to change the name of the company, which is supported by Ken and Mo? And the key question here is whether Ken and Mo have got the sufficient majority, which is 75%. Well, let's do the calculation. 500 Ken shares, 100 for Mo, that's 600 in total, out of a total of 800. So 600 divided by 800, multiply that by 100 equals 75. That means they've got exactly 75% of the shares, so they can pass a special resolution without relying on Layla and Nelly's shares. What often confuses students is that they work out that Layla and Nelly have got 25% exactly between them, but the rule is that they need an additional one single share above their 25% shareholding to block a special resolution, which on the facts they do not.
SQETV.
So in this video we've unpacked for you some of the mathematical themes that you might come across in an SQE assessment. Just to be clear though, the way we presented the questions were really for teaching purposes rather than how they would necessarily be presented in an SQE1 multiple choice question or in an SQE2 skills question. But the themes and the points of law and the mathematical calculations are definitely the sorts of things that you could expect in an SQE assessment. Anyway, there's more of this type of maths coaching to come, so look out for later videos on the subject. And in the meantime, please don't hesitate to like and subscribe to the channel and tap that notification bell so you know as soon as a video drops for you to watch it. In the meantime, as we say when we always finish an SQETV video, it's now time for the jingle!
If you wanna be solicitors, why don't you